Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to Thursday. And a special Thursday it is, so to speak, but not for any particularly good reason. Today, this morning, for the first time actually having to do so, I had to fill up with diesel that I had to pay over $6 a gallon for, which was super fun. Fortunately for me, I didn't need more than 71 or 2 gallons, so it wasn't like it took a shiv and shoved it straight in my kidney before twisting a couple of times. But it still hurt. And I'm sure any California drivers right now are laughing like, oh, poor baby. $6 diesel? Laughs in $7 diesel. Yeah, you boys out west, you guys have it rough. My hat's off to you for sticking with it this long. But us here in the Midwest, we've been spoiled by a slower burn on the fuel price increases. But they're here. They're sticking around for a while by the looks of it, barring an outbreak of common sense across a whole lot of political and industrial spectrums. But whether or not that happens is anyone's guess. So, what do we do about it? Well, in a lot of ways, there's not a whole lot we can do about it without putting ourselves individually or collectively at very serious financial risk, despite the fact that the high fuel costs are already putting each of us individually and collectively at serious financial risk. Just because a lot of us are used to fuel prices being mid-threes or, lower. Like, we can deal with that kind of fuel cost. It's not fun, but it's not like it's, destroying your entire profit margin. Whereas $4.50, $5.50, $6.50 a gallon for diesel, that's going to really put a huge crimp in profit margins and operating margins in a real hurry. I mean, right now I'm spending, depending on how hard I work in a given week, and to be honest, I haven't worked very hard the last couple of weeks for various reasons. I'll get into that in a moment. I pay an average of about $1,900 a week for diesel. That's what I'm shelling out when all is said and done. When the settlement comes to me, and I see my fuel costs, it's usually around $1,900 to $2,100 a week is my fuel cost, including DEF. So going from an average of $1,200 to $1,500 a week to $1,900 to $2,100 a week, it's a big jump, and it does significantly impact my operating margins, especially with freight rates being in the tank, depending on which region of the country you're in at any given point in time. I mean, right now, Chicago area is not good, while Southeast, I hear, is pretty decent. Memphis is okay. Texas is okay. That's what I hear, but I'm not sure I can actually confirm that because I can't really see the hard data that would tell me one way or the other. I've got to rely on my dispatcher for that information. And since I don't trust my dispatcher, there's only so much stock I can put in that. And just, go about it however I can. Just do what I gotta do. But why I haven't been working so hard the last couple of weeks is because I've been trying to, actually enjoy something of a social life and, get out of the truck and do stuff, touch grass, not just live in my truck and then go home for a 34-hour reset and get back on the road and do it all over again. Last weekend I went to a party some of my friends were hosting, had a great time. This weekend some other friends of mine are hosting a party. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have a good time there. But, that has an opportunity cost, like taking the time off the road to, be with friends and family and do that kind of stuff. That essentially it costs money because I'm giving up opportunities to work, but I'm doing it obviously for my own personal health, my mental health, and to maintain relationships with people that I consider to be very dear to me. Like, for example, me and my dad a couple of weeks ago went out to Guitar Center for a couple hours. So we're just putzing around, seeing what kind of guitar sounded good, playing with different instruments, different amps, checking different things out. Had a great time. He's a far better guitar guitar player than I am. I'm barely a dilettante, but I like to noodle around every now and again. And I'm looking at different instruments because there's some I'd like to have. As a reward to myself for doing such a good job, day in, day out. Yeah, I'll spoil myself with a really nice guitar because why not? I may never learn how to play it like a really good guitar player, but I like the guitar. It's a great instrument. I enjoy some of the fit and features certain guitars offer, and so I'm looking at one of those for myself down the road here. But anyway, so basically I've only been out for 5 to 7 days at a shot the last 3 weeks individually, because I wanted to be home on weekends so I could do stuff. Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that, but again, like I said, there is going to be an opportunity cost, and so the diesel prices that I'm seeing in the Chicagoland area and in Illinois and Indiana and Ohio, they're hitting a lot harder than they should, in my opinion. But I'm sure a lot of guys are in a very similar situation, feeling the pinch in different ways, but in terms of their individual situations, but still hitting more or less the same way. It's taking more money out of weekly income because the truck is now more expensive to operate. And just running off of some rough numbers here, looking at what information I can see on the load boards, with freight rates being down because brokers are looking to get cheap freight rates from the desperate truckers just trying to break even or stay afloat. They're offering, some cases under $1 a mile, some cases up to maybe $1.50 or $2 a mile, and they're just hoping that someone bites so they can, keep that actual booking fee to themselves, the brokerage fee that they charge the customer. So a lot of cheap freight out there, especially in some of the short haul markets, even some of the long haul markets. Like I'm seeing, runs of 700, 800, 900 miles paying barely $2 a mile. It's like, really? You're gonna expect someone to pick up that load and take it? Well, apparently someone is, because they're still offering those rates, so someone's being stupid enough to actually accept them. Which, all right, well, that's your mistake, but it's affecting the entire industry, because now the rest of us are having a hard time competing because some moron is out there taking cheap freight, thinking it's going to get them ahead when they're just going to run themselves into the ground. Good luck, have fun, thanks for screwing it up for the rest of us. But right now, as I'm figuring, again, rough numbers, by my estimations, fuel costs per gallon, as well as the associated IFTA taxes and DEF, my estimation is about $1.25 to $1.50 a mile. That's what fuel cost is right now. So if you're taking freight that is under $2 a mile, you're paying $1.25 of that on average. In the Midwest and East, of course, and Southeast, I'm not sure about out West. I'm sure it's more like, $1.75 a mile is the fuel cost plus DEF and whatnot, but still. If you assume that fuel costs, let's call it $1.50, because when you got to add in the IFTA taxes, if you're, ended up paying taxes, just DEF costs and everything else, that $1.50 a mile, just use that as a base reference, $1.50 a mile. If you're taking $2 freight, $2 a mile freight, 50 cents is all you have left for your food, maintenance, truck payment, truck insurance, health insurance, and whatever other expenses you've got. That's all you have, 50 cents a mile. That's it. That's all you're keeping. And other 50 cents, of course, you've got to take a lot of that out for insurance. You've got for truck, trailer, cargo, whatever. So that's going to eat probably 25 of those cents when all is said and done. All your different insurances, and then maintenance, okay, minimum 10 cents a mile, so that's 35 cents gone. You got 15 cents left. 15 cents out of $2 per mile freight. 15 cents is all you have left in the current market environment. Okay, you ran 100 miles, made 15 bucks. Good for you. That'll get you a couple of Big Mac meals at McDonald's or something, at best. Obviously, things are going to change at some point, but a lot of folks are expecting there to be a recession in the trucking market, and just things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. Obviously, with the California about to have their AB5 law take effect, that could, essentially demolish their industry for trucking when it comes to owner-operators, and the very real possibility that law could be copycatted across a lot of states, especially states that vote blue. We could be heading for a major industry shakeup that could really send things into a spiral. Like, you think inflation and costs are bad now? Imagine if, 200,000 truckers come off the road because they legally can no longer operate. And imagine they're off the road for a month. I mean, just a month with 200,000 fewer trucks on the road. I'm not sure where the bottlenecks would happen, but they would happen somewhere. They would happen in the places that would hit the hardest, because there's just no way around it. If a lot of trucks have to come off the road because they legally can no longer operate because of different laws and different rules and different things that suddenly happen, you thought 2021 was bad for the supply chain issues? 2023 could be worse. But that's complete and honest and utter speculation. I have no idea what will actually happen until it actually starts beginning to happen. And none of us, I think, really can see or say what is or is not going to happen, because some of the guys who are saying, oh yeah, we're headed for a recession, they've been trucking for 25, 35, 45, 50 years. Like, they've seen a lot of things, but they've also witnessed the entire industry change from pen, paper, and pills to iPads and iPhones and GPS tracking. So, basing a current assessment off of previous experience, I think, is a mixture of invalid and probably uninformed, but still, of course, valid and informed enough that it should not be discounted just because of how different the industry is now compared to what it was 35 years ago. So, grain of salt for everything, that's all I can say, as I'm just rambling on this lovely sunny morning in Southern Illinois. So yeah, $6 diesel sucks. We're not likely to be seeing a decrease in those prices anytime soon, despite the fact that they should be coming down sooner rather than later. But big oil setting the prices. We're exporting a lot of energy to Europe because they've cut Russia out of their supply chain, essentially, to do their very best to hamstring them for their invasion of Ukraine, which is good. But, we're trying to, from what I understand, we're trying to prop up Europe's energy markets with energy exports to them from the U.S. and Canada. So that's decreasing the available supply we have in the U.S., which is sending prices higher. But also, we've got a decrease in refining capacity and capability because big oil is expecting us to go to renewables and everything else. It's just like, sometimes it's hard not to put a tinfoil hat on and assume this is all just a whole lot of conspiracy, Illuminati nonsense. But in reality, the way I see it is like it's a whole lot of outbreak of stupid across a lot of places, a lot of industries, and a lot of tech bros. And oh yeah, we're gonna put batteries and everything, and we're gonna totally get away from fossil fuels. Good freaking luck, son. Good luck. You can't get the weight of the Tesla truck right enough so you can actually keep it under 20,000 pounds and not have to, sacrifice cargo volume. Nor can you actually get that thing to run more than 200 or so miles on needing a full recharge. And you're still charging almost $200,000 for it. Really? That's not the future. That's a concept for the future, but it's not the future. That's a whole different rant for a whole different video. Anyway, folks, that's enough of my rambling for the day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you down the road.